There's an uncomfortable truth that almost no one dares to say. You may be sabotaging your own self-respect every day and not even realize it. It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of intelligence, much less bad luck. It's behavior. Small signs that seem harmless, but in practice scream silent weakness, and the world responds to these signs automatically. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Politics guided by reality, not by ideals, does not forgive behavioral naivete. If you believe that intention is enough, I need to warn you, intention does not build authority, behavior does. And some habits that you repeat every day are eroding your image, your influence, and even your opportunities. The most curious thing? Many of these signs seem like virtues, being too approachable, over-explaining oneself, seeking approval, tolerating certain things to keep the peace. It seems like maturity, but it isn't. Decisions based on real human nature show that people respect posture, not justification. Better to be feared than loved may sound radical, but it carries a simple principle. Respect is born from perceived strength. And when you demonstrate weakness, even subtle weakness, the environment reacts. The end justifies the means when the means is to develop a solid presence. I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm talking about strategic positioning, calculated use of force. Virtù and fortuna favor those who understand the invisible game of relationships. If you've ever felt constantly underestimated, ignored, or not taken seriously, it might not be a coincidence. Perhaps there are silent patterns undermining your authority. And the good news? They can all be corrected with awareness, with strategy, with constant adaptability. Today, you'll see 7 signs you probably exhibit without realizing it. And when you do, you'll never act the same way again. Because once you understand the game, you can no longer pretend you don't know how to play. If something inside you awakened while listening, don't ignore that feeling. This channel isn't about videos, it's about memories. Remember who you were before the fear, before the exhaustion, before the silence. Each new video here is a different reflection of your own soul, an invitation to understand what the world never taught you. The power you seek outside has always been within you. If you feel that this journey speaks to what lives silently within you, sign up now. Not to follow yet another creator, but to reconnect with something the world tried to make you forget. Because here, every word was made to heal, each reflection to awaken, and each video serves as a reminder you are not alone on the path back to yourself. Click on subscribe and turn the algorithm into a daily reminder of who you really are. He doesn't realize it, but every time he starts a sentence with, "Let me explain it better," he's already surrendering part of his own authority. When someone feels a constant need to justify their decisions, what they're communicating between the lines is insecurity. And the world, whether he likes it or not, operates much more according to Machiavellian logic than the naivete of idealists. It's politics guided by reality, not ideals. Those who occupy positions of power decide and communicate. They don't beg for understanding. By explaining too much, he asks for approval. By asking for approval, you surrender power. And power, once given, rarely returns intact. Is it better to be feared than loved? Perhaps not literally, but it's certainly better to be respected than constantly validated. Excessive explanation sounds like someone who needs to convince themselves before convincing others. A mature leader understands that decisions based on real human nature require clarity and firmness, not long defensive speeches. Consider a simple example. At work, he decides to change a project strategy. Instead of justifying himself for 10 minutes, he communicates, "We're going to do it this way from now on." If someone questions him, he answers objectively, without getting emotional, without going on at length. The end justifies the means when the means is a firm stance. This doesn't mean arrogance, but the calculated use of force. He explains when necessary, but doesn't apologize for existing. At home, in relationships, it's the same logic. Those who constantly say, "I did this because," end up training others to constantly doubt themselves. And little by little, the very appearance of virtue becomes a silent plea for acceptance. Machiavelli taught about virtù and fortuna, competence and opportunity. But competence also means knowing when to be silent. Those who explain too much demonstrate that they haven't yet built their own loyal armies within themselves, solid convictions, non-negotiable principles, and without this foundation, any criticism becomes an emotional earthquake. Avoiding being hated doesn't mean constantly justifying oneself. It means acting with coherence and constant adaptability, adjusting course without losing composure. He learns that authority doesn't come from the volume of words, but from the confidence with which they are used. And when he begins to reduce unnecessary explanations, he notices something curious. The less he justifies himself, the more seriously he is taken. But there is another behavior that undermines respect even further, something that seems like generosity, but hides fragility. He believes that always being accessible is a sign of importance. He replies to messages instantly, answers calls at any minute, says yes before even thinking. But in the real game of human relationships, excessive availability doesn't communicate value, it communicates neediness. Machiavelli already understood that politics guided by reality, not ideals, requires a cold reading of human behavior. What is rare is valued. What is abundant loses weight. Better to be feared than loved may sound harsh, but there's a hidden truth there. Those who are always available are rarely respected. It's not about coldness, but about strategy. When he is always available, he teaches others not to respect his time, and time is the most valuable currency he possesses. Decisions based on real human nature show that scarcity generates a perception of importance. Consider a simple example: the professional who only answers emails at set times. He doesn't ignore them, but he also doesn't live as a slave to his inbox, or the man who doesn't cancel personal appointments to answer every superficial call. This is the calculated use of force applied to daily life. The end justifies the means when the means is to protect his focus. He can establish clear rules. Answer messages twice a day, don't answer calls outside of business hours, reserve blocks of time for study and growth. This discipline builds his own loyal internal armies, self-control, prioritization, direction. And curiously, when he stops being always available, he begins to be sought out more with respect. Avoiding being hated here means acting with balance. He doesn't disappear off the map, but he also doesn't live at the mercy of others. Virtue and fortune favor those who know how to manage their presence. The appearance of virtue isn't about being the always ready nice guy, but about appearing centered, occupied with something greater. Constant adaptability comes when he learns to say "not now" without guilt. He realizes that value isn't in pleasing everyone, but in choosing where to invest energy. And when he starts limiting access, something inside him changes. His self-esteem strengthens. But there's an even deeper mistake than always being available. Something that puts his own identity in the hands of others. He may deny it, but deep down, many of the decisions he makes don't stem from his own conviction. They stem from the desire to be accepted. Every choice passes through the invisible filter of others' approval. What will they think becomes his compass. And when the compass depends on the mood of others, he ceases to be a strategist and becomes a puppet. Machiavelli would never base his politics guided by reality, not by ideals, on the volatile opinion of the crowd. Decisions based on real human nature require emotional autonomy. Better to be feared than loved is, at its core, a reminder that respect doesn't come from seeking applause. When he seeks validation, he surrenders control of his own self-esteem. And whoever controls your self-esteem controls you. Here's a practical example. He wants to change careers, but before acting, he consults 5 insecure people. Each one projects their own fears. The result? He backs down. The end justifies the means when the means is growth, but growth rarely receives immediate applause. Calculated use of force here means upholding decisions even in the face of doubtful glances. He can start small, making simple decisions without announcing them, wearing what he wants without asking for opinions, publishing a project without waiting for emotional permission. His own loyal armies are built internally: confidence, discipline, clarity of purpose. The appearance of virtue is not about pleasing everyone. It's about maintaining consistency between words and actions. And when he learns to act without asking for psychological permission, he begins to experience a freedom that few know. Virtue and fortune favor those who trust their own interpretation of the situation. Avoiding being hated doesn't mean molding oneself to fit into every environment. Constant adaptability is about adjusting strategy, not identity. When he stops seeking validation, he discovers that many criticisms lose their weight. And something curious happens. The same people who previously offered too many opinions begin to respect his firm silence. He realizes he doesn't need to prove anything. But there's a behavior even more dangerous than depending on approval, something that turns ambition into an easy target. He feels enthusiastic and, on impulse, tells everything. He talks about the new project, the financial goal, the move to a new city, the strategy he hasn't even started to execute yet. It seems innocent, even inspiring, but in the real game, announcing plans ahead of time is like displaying war maps in the public square. Machiavelli understood that politics guided by reality, not by ideals, requires strategic discretion. Not everyone who smiles is rooting for you. Decisions based on real human nature reveal something uncomfortable. Envy exists. Silent competition exists. Better to be feared than loved isn't about intimidation, but about not exposing oneself unnecessarily. When he reveals his plans too early, he opens the door to criticism, subtle sabotage, and even his own discouragement. The phenomenon is simple. By announcing a goal, he receives small doses of social dopamine. And this anticipated reward reduces the urgency to act. The end justifies the means when the means is to protect energy until the result speaks for itself. Calculated use of force here means strategic silence. If he wants to undertake something, let him study, validate, test, profit, then communicate. If he wants to change his body, let him train for months before posting a new fitness project. His own loyal armies are built behind the scenes: daily habits, strategic reading, disciplined execution. Books like The Prince by Machiavelli or The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene reinforce this idea. Decisive moves are rarely announced in advance. The appearance of virtue can be deceiving, but concrete results silence any doubt. Virtue and fortune favor those who know how to act at the right time. Avoiding being hated also involves not provoking unnecessary resistance. Constant adaptability allows adjusting the plan without external pressure. He learns that speaking less and doing more is a powerful combination. When he begins to hold back his projects until they are solid, he notices something interesting: less interference, more focus, more results. And then he understands that silence is a form of power. But there is a mistake that destroys any strategy, even the best planned one. Something that causes him to relinquish control at the exact moment he should remain firm. He may have the best plan, the most solid strategy, but one provocation is all it takes for everything to crumble. A pointed criticism, an ironic comment, a "you can't do it." That's it. If he reacts impulsively, he's already given away his advantage. Machiavelli understood that politics guided by reality, not ideals, requires a cool head. Decisions based on real human nature show that whoever controls their own emotions controls the environment. Better to be feared than loved in this context means being emotionally stable, because whoever explodes, gets offended, or despairs demonstrates predictability. And predictability is strategic weakness. When he reacts emotionally, he shows where it hurts, and whoever knows where it hurts knows where to apply pressure. Consider a practical situation. In a meeting, someone subtly questions your competence. You have two options. The first is to respond defensively, raise your voice, and try to prove your worth in the heat of the moment. The second is to maintain composure, a firm gaze and a short, objective response, or even postpone the response to a more strategic moment. The end justifies the means when the means is maintaining self-control. Calculated use of force here means knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Simple techniques help. Breathe before responding, count to 5, write down the response, and revise it before sending. Your own loyal armies are built internally with emotional discipline, the practice of self-control, and reading books like Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. An appearance of virtue can mask impulsiveness, but true maturity is control under pressure. Virtue and fortune favor those who remain stable when others become unstable. Avoiding being hated also involves not reacting explosively and generating unnecessary regrets. Constant adaptability means adjusting responses according to the scenario, not according to a wounded ego. He begins to realize that strategic silence is more unsettling than any impulsive attack. And the more he controls his emotions, the harder it becomes to manipulate him. But there is an even more dangerous behavior than losing control, something that teaches the world exactly how to treat him. He says he doesn't care. He pretends not to have heard the snide joke, ignores the disdainful comment, swallows the sarcasm. He believes he is being superior, but in practice, he is teaching the world how to treat him. Machiavelli knew that politics guided by reality, not by ideals, requires a cold reading of power dynamics. Decisions based on real human nature show that tolerated behavior tends to repeat itself. Better to be feared than loved may sound extreme, but there is a principle there. Respect needs clear limits. When he tolerates constant disrespect, he is not being noble, he is being permissive. And continuous permissiveness silently erodes authority. Imagine a work environment where someone constantly interrupts you. If they never speak up, the interruption becomes the norm. A calculated use of force here is simple and direct. Please let me finish. Short, firm, without aggression. The end justifies the means when the means is preserving dignity. Your own loyal armies are also built with well-defined boundaries. The appearance of virtue isn't about accepting everything with a forced smile. It's about maintaining composure without losing your composure. In personal relationships, the logic is the same. Jokes about your ambition, comments about your dreams, criticism disguised as jokes. If you never react, you teach them that you can be belittled. Avoiding being hated doesn't mean being complicit in disrespect. It means acting with balance and firmness. Virtue and fortune favor those who establish clear boundaries. Constant adaptability allows one to choose when to confront and when to simply step aside. He learns that respect is not begged for, it is earned, and the more calmly and objectively he positions himself, the less room he gives for abuse. Gradually, the environment changes. People adjust their behavior, and he realizes that well-defined limits strengthen image, presence, and influence. But there is one last sign, perhaps the most profound of all, that makes any man invisible. something that has nothing to do with others, but with the direction he himself chooses to follow. He wakes up, completes tasks, pays bills, distracts his mind, repeats the cycle. Everything works, but nothing points anywhere. And the problem isn't a lack of occupation, it's a lack of direction. Machiavelli understood that politics guided by reality, not ideals, begins with clarity of purpose. A man without purpose inspires no respect because he inspires no one, not even himself. Decisions based on real human nature show that people follow those who know where they are going. Better to be feared than loved is irrelevant when there is no mission. Without direction, any external opinion becomes a strong wind. Without a clear goal, any criticism destabilizes. He may seem busy, but busy is not the same as committed to something greater. Consider these practical examples. Someone who decides they want financial independence defines numbers, deadlines, and strategies. They read books like Think and Grow Rich, study solid investments, analyze consistent stocks, and build recurring income. They don't just say they want to grow, they establish a plan. Calculated use of force here means obsessive focus on what matters. The end justifies the means when the means are strategic discipline. Their own loyal armies are built within them through daily habits, waking up early, training, studying for 30 minutes a day, cutting out useless distractions. The appearance of virtue doesn't replace concrete direction. Virtù and fortuna favor those who combine competence with opportunity, but opportunity is only recognized by those who are prepared. Avoiding being hated might be important, but being ignored is even worse. Constant adaptability comes into play when he adjusts course without abandoning his mission. He begins to understand that purpose isn't something mystical, it's a clear decision. It could be building a business, becoming a reference in his field, developing quiet authority. When he has direction, his posture changes, his speech changes, his gaze changes, people feel it, and respect begins to emerge naturally, not through imposition, but through consistency. He discovers that purpose organizes behavior, strengthens boundaries, controls emotions, and reduces the need for validation. And when he puts all these points together, he realizes that weakness isn't destiny. It's a pattern repeated unconsciously. Now let me ask you a direct question. How many of these signs did you recognize in yourself? Be honest, not with me, with yourself. Because as long as you keep repeating patterns that demonstrate weakness, the world will continue to respond in exactly the same way. Machiavelli wasn't talking about gratuitous cruelty. He was talking about lucidity. Politics guided by reality, not by ideals, is about seeing the game as it is, not as we would like it to be. If you explain less, take a stronger stance, control your emotions, protect your plans, and live with a clear purpose, your presence changes. And when your presence changes, respect follows. But here's the crucial point. Knowledge without application is entertainment. And you're not here to be entertained. You're here to evolve. Decisions based on real human nature require practical action. So choose one of the 7 signs and start today. Just one. Stop over-justifying yourself. Say no when necessary. Set a concrete goal for the next 90 days. Calculated use of force begins with small daily adjustments. The end justifies the means when the means is building a more strategic version of yourself. Virtù and fortuna favor those who act, not those who merely agree. Constant adaptability is what separates those who understand from those who transform. Now tell me, which of these signs has harmed you the most so far? Which one will you work on first? Write it in the comments. I want to know. And if this content opened your eyes in any way, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because here, the conversation is direct, strategic, and without illusions. Better to be feared than loved may be a strong phrase, but being respected starts with you. And the next step in your transformation may be in the next video.